Hello, everyone, and welcome to something I'm really excited to share with you guys. I was going through my Google Docs drive the other day and came across something that I figured would be awesome to keep in our history on the YouTube channel. It is a recording of Wishful Thinking. For those that don't know what Wishful Thinking is, it's the show that Drew and Marcus and myself did on the radio that eventually led to the formation of Less Than Normal, which gave birth to LTN Media as a whole. With that being said, please enjoy an LTN Media Vault episode of Wishful Thinking.
You will be laughing, you will be smiling. Keep your head up and you'll soon be flying. Could be a moment before we stop sinking. Could be a moment, begin wishful thinking.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wishful Thinking. I am Chris Branch, and joined with me is the crew, Drew Cathcart and Marcus Dippolino.
Hello, hello.
What's going on, boys?
Howdy, howdy.
Oh, you know.
It's been a bit.
It has.
Yeah.
You know, weird circumstances.
It's been a very long time.
Yeah.
For sure.
Weird circumstances already, you know, with everything that's been going on. Chris, you know exactly what how tricky this whole thing has been, right?
Oh, yes. So, obviously, it's our first show since
February. Yeah.
You know, with the whole COVID-19 situation, it's been kind of cool because I've gotten back into other forms of entertainment. Like I started a podcast. But the funny thing about that is you can't even say COVID on YouTube or they blacklist your video. You get demonetized. You can't say coronavirus. You can't say pandemic, any of that.
Ow.
It's oh, dude, they hit hard.
Is that like a misinformation thing, or is that like they just don't want bad vibes on YouTube?
I think it's mostly the misinformation part, which is that's good on their end. You know, because you want to make sure people aren't getting terrible information. You want to make sure they're getting what they need, you know, to follow guidelines and this and that. But it makes it hard because I'm 2 podcasts in already, and my co-host on the podcast has said COVID twice. I'm like, stop saying it.
Oh, no.
That's rough.
Don't even mention it. Don't even mention it. He's like, man, I'm sorry. I didn't even know. I'm like, now you know. Just don't say it.
Well, Chris, if it makes it any easier for you, I asked, you know, the powers that be, Dave, if we would run into if we were going to run into any similar issues on ICRV. And Dave assured me there wasn't. But if it makes it easier for you, I vote, you know, group vote here that we start a movement where we call coronavirus the rise of the galactic empire.
Man.
I would like to just amend that motion and amend it to Palpatine's plague.
Can we just call it what it is, guys? Order 66. Just Order 66.
But who executed it?
Biological arm of Order 66.
Oh my God. Okay, let's do it. Okay, I'm writing this down right now. You two talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah, so it's now, well, we can all just say that Jar Jar Binks is at fault for this as well, because, I mean, let's be real.
Dude, Jar Jar, I swear to you, Jar Jar is the Sith mastermind of every Star Wars movie. If Jar Jar had not, this is my Star Wars nerd showing, if Jar Jar did not, like, tell Palpatine, hey, or make that movement to the Senate for the funding of the clone army, then like there would be no clones, there would be no Order 66, the Sith would not have risen. Like, Jar Jar is a Sith Lord. I'm sorry if you guys like Jar Jar Binks, but Jar Jar is a Sith Lord, okay? Let's
No,
let's
nobody
call it
likes
what it
Jar
is.
Jar.
Honestly, that fan theory has like some traction on like some of the Star Wars YouTube channels I've
Dude,
watched.
it's a legitimate
But-
thing.
But let's talk about how Padme is the one that gave him that power.
I don't even think I think Padme. I guess Padme did, but like Padme also had to do things. Like it was Padme let him be that, but like be honest, like Jar Jar could have just not opened it. Jar Jar could have not said anything. Jar Jar could have very easily been like, "Hey, let's maybe wait until Padme gets back to make the decision for the entire planet, the entire galaxy."
That's very fair. I've never thought of it that way.
Like,
Oh yeah.
he could have abstained. He could have abstained so easily.
That's playing off being stupid. Come on. Jar Jar's a scumbag.
Drew, you got some solid logic here.
I've thought about this way too much.
Well, I mean, that is like my Elves of Middle Earth rant.
What's
and
that?
Like how Gandalf is just a. All
right, edit number 1.
Well,
Don't
whoops.
even get me started on the elves.
So like no, but like okay, here's my bit. All right, so the Hobbit. I mean, not the elves, the hobbits, right?
The Hobbits, yeah.
Like,
wait, what's wrong with Whoa,
Yeah.
whoa! You got a problem with Samwise Gamgee?
no, I don't.
Okay,
I'm actually defending him. Just
Okay.
hear me out.
Okay.
Like, so the hobbits are cool, chilling in Hobbiton, getting doing whatever they want to do.
Okay,
like,
okay.
you know.
Marcus, remember we are doing radio.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So like, they're having a good time in Hobbiton, living out their lives, growing their gardens, And then here comes some old dude who like knows one rich hobbit, brings some fireworks and weed, and then is like, "All right, let's go on an adventure." Right?
Pipeweed, by
And
the
they're
way.
like, okay, cool. Yeah, this is gonna help the greater good of humanity. Like, we'll sacrifice ourselves for the cause. And then when, they ask questions, like I think there's like one part, I think it's in the Two Towers, like we're in the forest after Helm's Deep.
Uh-huh.
And like it's like Merry or Pippin like gets the like orb and touches it, and Gandalf is like, "You stupid fool of a took!"
Yep.
Like
That's Pip.
he could have just told him, like, "Yo,
Yeah, right?
don't touch that. It's
Like,
bad."
like,
Dude,
insult people,
Gandalf
like,
is like the yeah.
These dudes have gone halfway across the world for this dude, who then seems to dip when it gets really bad.
Yep.
Only to come back as like, the hero who re-dips just when it is appropriate, when all hope is lost.
Yep.
He's like the final cheat code, like it's like if I was gonna be like, dude, I don't know where I am, I don't know when my next meal is going to be. I'm here to help you.
Yeah.
Cut me some slack.
Please.
End rant.
Oh, dude.
So can
I'm
we
clapping.
talk about
I'm
the
clapping.
first,
That was
like,
so good.
first 7 minutes of our show? We just talked about the nerdiest things possible.
Dude, did you miss us, guys? I certainly did. I missed you.
I missed this.
I missed this
I
too.
missed this for sure.
Oh man.
All right, so let's get to the stuff that people want to hear about.
What,
which
you
is
mean
music.
people don't want to hear about the biological arm of Order 66?
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
apparently.
Oh, okay. But
Apparently.
yeah, so Chris brings up a good point though. We've had a couple releases, people have been doing live streams. In the time, it took for us to come back on the air, here comes Drew Cathcart's first shameless plug of returning. I released a single called Happy. Yeah, I released a single called Happy Moments off of my upcoming album Feet to Stand On. Sorry. And people have been doing live streams. It's been good. What do you guys think?
Can I just say it? Because I haven't said it in a while. That was your Drew Cathcart shameless plug of the day. Well, Marcus could get some plugs because Fleet and Lamatia dropped some new stuff.
That's true.
Yeah,
very recently.
Yeah, we just just this week actually. We both bands have been in a long slumber, and both are, I think, starting to come out of that slumber. Fleet just released a single yesterday called Charm. It's up on our Bandcamp. And all the proceeds will be going to the Connecticut Bail Fund. So we hope you donate. It's for a great cause. We recorded it back in November and been kind of sitting on it and whatever. And then Llama has an 80s EP in the works, and we just dropped the first single cover with a music video. It's The Outfield's Your Love. So if you want to see a lot of silly people doing silly things, go find that on, all of Llama Tsunami's social media.
Marcus,
and, whatever.
Would you say that? Well, is Llama T wearing a hat? Are there llamas in hats? Are there llamas in hats?
Llamas in, no, they're not. They're not llamas in hats. I'm sorry, Drew.
Have I been the first person to make that joke?
I think to me, I don't know if anyone else has made it to any other llama.
I'm so happy.
I'm not sure.
I'm so proud of
Yeah.
you.
You know what's bad? In 2 years of doing this show, Drew's jokes are still terrible.
Hey, consistency is key, though.
Hey.
Yeah, absolutely.
Consistency and terribleness. Man.
That's all right. That's all right. Eugene if Eugene Chadbourne can play an electric rake and get on Spin Magazine's 100 greatest guitarists of all time, then you're fine, Drew.
I was referring to my jokes, not my instrumentation, but thank you. I appreciate it. Oh man.
All right. God, I miss you guys.
I just kind of want to go around the table and ask, what have you guys been doing in quarantine? Aside from putting out singles and stuff, and just kind of what is your day-to-day been like?
I'm an asthmatic, so just to be safe, I pulled myself out of work in March. I actually go back next week, so I've actually been watching my niece for most of the time. Like I said, I started a podcast. Been trying to get back into some sort of entertainment and stuff like that, while also being super unhealthy and gaining back the 20 pounds that I lost at the beginning of the year. So I mean, hey,
I got you.
That's a mood.
How about you, Drew?
So I'm actually looking at an apartment that my girlfriend Becca and I are looking at. And
shout out, Becca.
Yep.
For coming over, drinking all of my beer.
That's it. That's it.
Hey, Chris.
Bought a 12-pack. She killed half of it. I'm like, all right, respect.
Chris, someone had to do it.
Yeah, that's the truth.
I love that girl.
Nice. Very cool.
Oh man. So Marcus, what have you been up to?
Well, I have I started a new landscaping job out in Old Black Point just a couple weeks before the lockdown hit. I don't know how I engineered this one, boys. I was underemployed most of the year, and then since the end of March, middle end of March, I've been working Monday through Friday, almost 40 hours a week. And I've, starting to get into a rhythm at this place, and it's different than the other landscaping job that I had, but so far it's been working out well. I've been doing a lot of practicing on guitar at home, or I've been trying to, just with the free time, because both bands have been kind of out, and I've been kind of getting into another one of my hobbies, which is doing stupid DIY auto mechanic projects. So long story short, from my Camp Harkness job, I acquired a golf cart for free.
Nice.
And now I am in the process of making it go faster. So I've put an exhaust on, I've put rally lights on it. And I'm the rear end. I'm about to put the rear end back on. I put new gears in to give it a higher top speed. So
what do you have for an engine in that thing? What's the size?
It's a Kawasaki FE 290. So it's a 290cc single cylinder engine.
Dude, buy a 450. Just drop it in that thing.
But yeah, I could.
Like a real man. Let's just rip it.
I want to work with the power that I have, and it already does 18 miles an hour with the exhaust. So I think I might get 30 out of it.
Marcus,
18's rookie numbers, bro. Let's step
Marcus, I know for a fact, and coming from the person who does not know, this is the one thing I know about cars. To make it reach 30, you're going to have to paint it red, give it fire stripes, and also put a spoiler on it.
Well, it does have a shark's mouth painted on the front of it.
Okay,
because,
that'll do too.
Yeah, because this car, when it was in service, was owned by United Cerebral Palsy, and which is an organization that works with Camp Harkness that runs a summer camp for disabled people.
Okay.
Oh, that's nice.
And you know, one of the people that I used to work with on the state end also worked for this organization, UCP. She was like a head counselor. She was there for years. And I think either like 1 year for her birthday or when she left, I don't exactly remember, some counselors took it over. I think the story is they took it over to the Eugene O'Neill Theater Center and had some theater students paint it.
Oh, that's awesome.
They painted it black with a shark's mouth, and then they had like a foam shark fin on it, and they would just drive it around. And I'm sure I know it's gotten rolled a couple times because some of the body work is coming out, and like yeah. So and it also
nice.
Like they took the like, you know, the like silver silhouettes of like the bathing beauties that you see on like trucker mud flaps or whatever.
Sure. Yeah.
They took a couple of those on the back. Those have fallen off now.
Aww.
But like if I ever put brake lights on it, I want to be really custom and cut out the silhouette and hide the lights behind. So then when you hit the brake pedal, the silhouette lights up.
Love it. Like
So,
the bat.
I'll tell you.
Like the bat
I
signal.
I haven't really been doing anything else with my life. I've just been like here working with my, you know, I've been helping with my family doing, you know, around the house projects. We did in April, we did a big, like we put together an outdoor shower and stuff, but
Nice.
Yeah.
And I did release, I recorded a single actually at the beginning of this COVID thing, just kind of in my room, and you know, and just kind of it was commentary on COVID. So I've been trying to keep busy with all of those things.
Well, I'll tell you what, if the exhaust doesn't help with making the go-kart, or not the golf cart faster, just try to figure out a way to put a VTEC in it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, can we talk about the other thing that's totally changed?
What?
Yes.
I'm bald now.
Oh, you are bald.
Oh my God,
Marcus,
I
did you
am
not know
bald
this?
now.
Yeah. He
That's
can't confirm.
amazing.
He has no hair.
I am fully bald. I made the choice as a drunken dare from my friend in March to shave it all off, and it's obviously been a long time since, and I'm still doing it, keeping it up.
How is that life treating you? Are you liking the aesthetic?
My guess is colder.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know why I didn't do it sooner.
Fair enough. Yeah.
My
I love it. I'll tell you what, I do. I have products for it, like to moisturize my head and exfoliate.
Nice.
Yeah, I've gone hard.
Nice.
At Dollar Shave Club, bro. It's all. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, you know what else I'm mad about is I didn't go get to see Wu-Tang Clan for my dad's birthday.
That's a huge
because
bummer.
Everything happened, and I'm sitting on floor seats that I'm hoping that they just reschedule.
Yeah.
I had to settle for drinking beers with my dad. Ooh.
Hey,
Drew, were you gonna work that?
I don't typically know what I'm working until a few weeks prior. So I don't typically know what I'm working until a few weeks prior. That said, I would have loved to have worked that because Wu-Tang, you know, they're great.
Boom.
That would have been really cool to be backstage for like.
Oh my God, yeah.
Just hang out with the boys.
Hang out with the
sick.
boys.
Yeah, you just roll up into the dressing room and be like, Wu-Tang is for the children, and then see if they go like, oh.
Here's the main thing, guys. Is I saw a post that a doctor had posted, and it said, "COVID is temporary, but Wu-Tang is forever." And I was like, "Yes."
Was that
Throw those
Dr.
W's.
Dre?
No, I wish it was though.
Oh, okay.
That would have been. I mean, to me, he's the only doctor qualified to make that post. But whatever.
Fun fact: he actually has an honorary PhD, so he is technically, by all legal terms, a doctor.
Nice.
The
Sounds
more you
like-
know.
Shout
Right
out,
here on
Dr.
Wishful
Dre.
Thinking.
Welcome to knowledge sessions on Wishful Thinking.
Knowledge sessions.
That's what
I
we
just-
should have
am I
named
the
our
only one that-
show.
Knowledge sessions. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's a
think
little
that-
late now. We've already branded.
Yeah. Whatever.
I think that should be a segment within.
Like Drew Cathcart's shameless plugs,
Yes.
or
Knowledge.
Should I
the
just-
Star Wars memes.
Yeah.
Should I every show just throw a random fun fact out?
What are you,
Yeah,
Snapple?
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
Okay.
I know a lot of dumb random facts.
All right. That said, we will hit you with some dumb random facts after the break. With we're gonna talk about our 5 favorite albums.
All right, everyone, welcome back to Wishful Thinking. We are here just kind of talking about random stuff, catching up. But I think we all want to talk about something that we've never talked about on the show, which is our personal top 5 favorite albums.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, we all have similar taste in music, but we all also have very wide variety of music that we like.
Yeah.
So I feel this is going to be super interesting.
of course. Chris,
Who wants to go first?
I mean, I don't know. Do you guys want to draw straws? You want to? I guess no one can see if we draw straws, so they won't believe us.
We can't even see if we draw
That
straws.
said, Chris,
No.
by the way, I just wanted to bring this up. You had mentioned you're bald earlier in the show, but I think so many of our listeners may not even know what you look like. So, do you
Yeah.
want to just self-describe your appearance real quick?
I'm a bald redhead with a giant orange beard.
How are you a bald? Oh, right, the beard. I was gonna say, how are you a bald redhead if you don't have hair on the top of your head, but the beard? Anyways, so I'll go first. So, we're gonna do our top 5 favorite albums. We're gonna do a little, explanation why they're our top 5. My number 5, Back in Black by AC/DC, and it's a weird one on the list for me because I don't particularly, AC/DC's good. They're not to me what they were when I first got that album, which was my first album I ever got, by the way.
Yeah.
Nice.
And it's semi-responsible for getting me into electric guitar.
Nice.
So I that's why it's huge for me. It's just the first album I ever owned. It got me into rock and roll music, and it's been a spiral from there. Marcus, what about you?
Are we going around as 5, 4, 3, 2, 1?
I mean,
Yeah,
we
sure.
could also talk. Yeah, I didn't know if you guys had any
Okay.
Yeah, it's
So,
kind of a. Yeah.
I guess number 5 for me would be Californication by the Chili Peppers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, great album.
I would play that a lot in high school. I learned all around the world on drums, which is the first song off that, and I remember listening through to the whole thing on bus rides home sophomore year. It was one of those very impactful albums for me.
That's a great album.
Oh yeah, were you?
Yeah, I was.
Were you always because you're still into the Chili Peppers today, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I very much into them. I think my favorite my favorite Chili Peppers time is musically is their album Mother's Milk, which I believe is the first album with John Frusciante,
Oh yeah.
and it's pre-blood sugar sex, and they sound like a completely different band than what they sound like now. They're just this hardcore punk band that plays funk really fast. If anyone knows their cover of Higher Ground
Oh
by
yeah.
Stevie Wonder, it's off that album.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like that. It's just it's just very, there's still a lot of silliness involved too.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be number 5 for me. How about you, Chris?
Perfect. So actually, it's funny because Marcus has made several memes about this band on actually during the show. But mine is Linkin Park, A Thousand Suns. Now,
Okay.
Linkin Park, I think, for people that know me, Linkin Park has always been one of my favorite bands. Chester Bennington, he had always been one of my biggest vocal inspirations. And like I've always wanted to kind of have a voice like his. Granted, I am a fan of every single album that they've ever put out. A lot of people don't like after Meteor. A lot of people said, "Oh, well, you know, they're changing their sound and this and that." A lot of bands do change their sound. Not many bands do it as drastically as Linkin Park did.
Yeah.
Like they went from like super like new metal type 2000s to a kind of alternative vibe back to a little bit of well no then they went to A Thousand Suns, which it combines all of their sounds with an electronic sound and everything, and then they slowly moved back to harder rock, then to like more electronic stuff. But I don't, A Thousand Suns, it's an underrated album. Everything on there it just has this way of working that a lot of bands that have tried the sound it doesn't work for them. I don't know. It's hard to put into words. I listened to that album probably 300 to 400 times.
Yep.
Like it's a combination of Chester Bennington's amazing vocal ability with Mike Shinoda's just incredible rap technique and the fact that he can sing as well. And they all kind of play different instruments and stuff through the whole album. Drew, what's your number 4?
My number 4 is Wasting Light by Foo Fighters. This was kind of like so a lot of people will say, you know, their favorite Foo Fighters record is either, you know, the self-titled, which I love, or Color in the Shape, which I also love. But Wasting Light was kind of the great dividing point in my music taste. It shifted, you know, before it was very much like classic rock, like 80s, and it kind of shifted my musical taste from that into more, you know, punk rock, and it got me that album, you know, got me more into Nirvana's earlier stuff and like more into the Foo Fighters earlier stuff, and it kind of
I just want to say that Bridge Burning on that album is one of the best tracks they've ever put out.
Oh my gosh,
for sure.
One of their best electric tracks, because I haven't really dug into it, but that is like an absolute banger. And there's a really great performance if you look on YouTube of them right after that came out, and like right after the documentary Back and Forth came out, and like if they're in Australia, it's like first song and they walk on stage and they just rip it.
Yep.
It's really cool.
I love that whole album.
I think they're incapable of putting any bad music out, though. That's like, I mean, except for a lot of people think that their most recent album wasn't the greatest.
I didn't like Sonic Highways.
Foo Fighters.
Sonic Highways I didn't care for. I thought Concrete and Gold was better than Sonic Highways. I thought the documentary. The problem with Sonic Highways was, in my opinion, was the documentary was better than the album, which it should not be the case.
No.
Well, I mean, yes and no. I mean, like, you know, like I was talking to some of my bandmates, Danny, and I think he kind of had the similar opinion. You know, like the songs just weren't as strong as they could have been,
right?
Or, you know, like, and I mean, at that point, like, I mean, it's kind of hard to, like, you know, when you're making like a song for something, like, be it a commercial, be it a documentary, and some people can do it, and sometimes, you know, it comes out great. I think it can be sometimes harder to keep a sense of authenticity and sincerity, like keeping that edge, you know, like, so maybe some of that was lost, you know, and I don't think it's anybody's fault, you know, like, I think everyone was putting in, you know, a solid and decent effort, you know, and, but, you know, that could be a reason.
Right.
Different strokes for different folks.
Right.
Basically.
Marcus, what about you? What's your number 4?
I'd have to say, probably like, Pearl Jam's 10 is, because Pearl Jam Pearl Jam was actually a very early influence for me. I remember watching the footage of Pink Pop 92 over and over and over again. You know, Alive, Black, not so much Jeremy though. Why Go, like that whole album is great, and you know, I have a lot of respect for Pearl Jam, and that would be my number. That would be my number 4.
Right on.
All right, what about you, Chris?
Mine's gonna be a totally different genre. I'm going Logic's Young Sinatra 4.
Okay.
Okay.
So Logic, who's an amazing rapper, his performances are out of this world. I've seen him twice. Young Sinatra 4 is the culmination of a series of mixtapes that he had put out early in his career, called the Young Sinatra. It's just like Young Sinatra 1, 2, 3, 4. He actually got the inspiration of doing it from Mac Miller, and it's a totally different vibe from anything else he's done. All of his other albums have all been concept albums. They've all had like a specific meaning to them. So when he'd put out mixtapes or EPs, they'd all be just him, you know, vibing to totally different like beats and just kind of having that flow of, hey, this is a cool song you could just bump to.
Okay.
Young Sinatra 4 actually, it had a mix of that. It had, between all the collaborations, he did a song with the entire Wu-Tang Clan.
That's crazy. Oh, you showed me that. That was
like
crazy.
Wu-Tang Forever. It's like a 10-minute song. Marcus,
wow.
I'll have to show it to you.
Yeah,
It's so good.
Great.
Every member of Wu-Tang, obviously except for ODB,
Yeah.
may he rest in peace.
Yep.
But yeah, like he did that. I think he did a song on that album with, I believe, G-Eazy was on there, and Wiz Khalifa, and like just big names that repped. I think Will Smith was on that album too.
Right on.
So,
All right.
or is that the next one? I think it's the next one. But yeah, that's
amazing.
that's Young Sinatra 4, man.
A blip of a rap career that was pretty decent for a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. But you know, I am gonna move us right along though, just because you know we're starting to get a little tight on time. So all right. So
go for it. Number 3.
Yep,
What's
yep.
your number 3?
Also, I really love this. My number 3, which is, in my opinion, maybe the greatest album ever released. The reason it's number 3 on my list was because it's not the most like influential to me personally, but it, in my opinion, could be the greatest album ever. A Night at the Opera by Queen.
Oh yeah.
I love Queen, like without a doubt. Probably it's for best band ever, in my opinion. It's them or the Beatles, and like
Cool.
and I go with
can't
Queen.
argue.
Yeah, I usually lean more towards Queen, just because they were more committed. And so yeah, and it taught me a ton about unconventional songwriting, and you know, it's a perfect, because a lot of those songs aren't just like, you know, intro, verse, chorus, bridge, you know. And it's just wherever the song goes, and and it really is like such a perfect example of having a variety on one album. You know, you have Bohemian Rhapsody, you have, you know, Best Friend, which is just like a beautifully well done pop song, love song, and you have like, you know, 39, which is borderline folk. Like, it's just such a good album. Marcus, what about you? What's your number 3?
Can it be like a tie? Like,
yeah, you can have an honorable mention.
Sure.
Yeah.
So like, because as I'm thinking about it, there's more that I want to put on this list, but I can't.
Right.
But so I'm gonna do a double. It's 3 separate albums.
Okay.
Yeah. It's Titus Andronicus's The Monitor.
Ooh.
Okay.
Which is a concept album. It's a breakup, but it's also set in the American Civil War.
Ooh.
And it's quite possibly one of the best albums that's been put out in the last 10 years by any indie rock band. Some of the themes on it are amazing. There's quotes that are read between everything. Victor Shaburis's, who's a local guy, The Friendly Ghost, Children and Fools.
I love The Friendly Ghost. They're so
which
good.
was
Nice.
he was actually someone who I went to high school with. He was a grade ahead of me.
What?
He was one of the, and he produced it was like one of the main people who really got me into like acoustic guitar and alternate tunings, because some of his stuff is so beautiful, like open C tunings and open E and finger picking and all that stuff was really influenced by watching him and listening to his album. And the third in this trio is going to be Tool's Lateralis.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes,
I for a long time I kind of had a thing about Tool, and then like I started working out to them at the gym, and I just kept playing that record, and I just dove deeper into it, and I just the darkness, but all, you know, there's really good lyrics on that, you know, and stuff that I can relate to as well.
Well, that's the key thing that Maynard Keenan always has in every Tool song, and I'm glad that they made an appearance on this list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so my number 3 is Breaking Benjamin's Phobia.
Okay.
Arguably their most successful album. That's the album that got me into them. It talks about the lead singer, Ben Burnley, how he's a very fearful person.
Right.
He's got a lot of phobias, and he talks about each one sort of in every song. And I still say Diary of Jane is without question my favorite song they've ever put out. And that's like their biggest hit. And I love that album. I can still to this day listen to that album 25 times and I'm loving it.
Nice.
Cool.
Mind if I move on to my number 2?
Go for it. That's what we were waiting for.
All right, fair enough. So this one, I thought very, very, I thought a lot about, you know, what local or like band that I knew personally would make this list, and I came to the realization, as much as I love like everyone I've met down here, there's been, you know, one band in particular that from when I was up in Vermont that really had a huge impact on me musically, and just not only musically but as like a songwriter in general. And it's my friend Rye's band, former band Suncooks, and it's their album Straight from the Surface. So these guys, they were, you know, I went to a school called Linden State College, now Northern Vermont University. These guys were heroes. They were legends, like up there, in my opinion. You know, they had a huge outlook. They gave me like a big effect on my outlook over like life up there, and you know, like what it meant to be part of the community and what it meant to be part of the scene. And like if it weren't for bands like, if it wasn't for Suncooked, like I don't know if I would even be doing the show, because I wouldn't have an understanding like things, you know, you got to do and that you should do if you're part of a music scene.
Nuts.
They were like the ultimate role models for like for a good scene member, you know. And they were starting to grow. They were starting to grow. Like they were, I think they were gonna open for the Dropkick Murphys or something. And you know,
What?
yeah,
That's awesome.
But they still, in my heart, are like my number 2 band ever, perhaps. And like that is my number 2 album because it just meant so much to me.
Nice.
Yeah, Marcus, you know, what about you? Like,
Ooh.
yeah, follow that one up.
That's number 2 would have to be the Who Ultimate Collection, which was something my dad got, and I've talked on the record about like the Who was like kind of like how Drew's entry was AC/DC, mine was the Who.
Nice.
And watching this concert with my family, and when my sister was living with us at the time, and being just mesmerized at watching Zach Starkey play the drums. And that kind of, I think, kind of flipped something off. And, you know, it was a, you know, Time Life type thing where it was all their best stuff, but it was really, you know, that was something that I played a lot in my formative years.
Oh, there you are. I had a connection issue.
Oh, well, you're back, and you're up.
I am. All right, perfect. So this
Number
gives
2.
me time to talk about my favorite band. It is Shinedown.
This is your number 2 album?
Sound of Madness.
This is your number 2 album?
Yes, my
Okay.
number
Just
2 album.
I would've
Shinedown, Sound of Madness.
I thought that would have been your number 1, but please continue.
Well, just wait because number 1 it's coming and it's a big one.
Yeah?
I love Shinedown. I believe I've talked about Shinedown several times. I've seen them in concert multiple times. Every album that they've put out has a special significance, including their newest one, Attention, which was amazing. But Sound of Madness, another one that really, really got me into the band. And there's so much meaning behind each song. It's just the ambiance of everything, just the feeling when you listen to the album. It's just unlike anything that any other band I can think of can really bring, except for my number 1, which I'll get to after. Drew, do you have any honorable mentions before we get to our number 1s?
I have a ton of honorable mentions, but I'm not sure we have a ton of time for them.
We should do a whole roundtable on honorable
mentions. We should after the next show. Maybe don't quote me on this. But at some point in the future, we should definitely, hopefully, maybe I would like to on like some of our favorite, albums and bands that didn't necessarily make it onto this list.
Yes.
But drum roll, please.
Yes.
My number 1 is "Love, Ire, and Song" by Frank Turner. So this is.
Shocker.
So I know I've talked about Frank Turner, on end for I feel like millions of hours of my life, there's a good reason why. This is my personal favorite record of all time. I've loved every album he's ever put out, but this is the one to me, and I owe like a big debt of gratitude to Frank Turner's music for kind of making me realize it's not easy to be a musician, but it's possible. And it's possible to do things you love, and you can do them and be happy and you can figure it out. It's just not necessarily going to be easy all the time. And the opening song in this album in particular is a song called "I Knew Proof Rock Before He Got Famous." It's probably my favorite song, of all time. And that changes from time to time, but this is probably the song, It always comes back to this one. And it helped me, it has a line, life's about love, last minutes and lost evenings, about fire in our bellies, about furtive little feelings, and the aching amplitudes that set our needles all flickering. And it helps us with remembering that the only thing that's left to do is live. What? That is so good. How do you not like that lyric? And
that's a good
line.
And beyond that, his music in general has helped me become a person, that I'm proud to be today, and that's a weird thing for me to say.
Yeah.
But, I owe a big debt of gratitude to Frank, and passing it right along, Marcus, you're number 1.
I think my number 1 would have to go to Llama Tsunami's first album.
Ooh.
And
just self-promoting. Love it.
Well, yes and no. When back then, when we were out of high school, I was in a band called Defenders of Pluto, and we were, doing this is what we did on the weekends. We gigged and we built a kind of a ska scene in, a couple years after. And I remember, Ben and Nick, as I got to know them, they've been such respectful friends and musical contributors. But the thing is, in that time when that album came out, they were the band to be. They could have I remember playing VFW show after VFW show and rocking my hardest, and then Llama would come up and just completely blow us out of the water, and it showed me, I think, the power of good anthemic songwriting, the power of stuff like Springsteen's Born to Run, or, the stuff that had, you know, that kind of quality to it. And it was, you know, they were inclusive, you know, like, you know, even back then they had, you know, they had like 11, they had like 10 people, you know, and it wasn't all just dudes. They had like at the time, this person is now transitioned, but there was Maria Shishmanian on trumpet, who was now Will Shishmanian, who's now hugely decently successful in New York making music. Another thing that they taught me was how important crowd engagement is.
Oh my God. Yeah.
You know,
Right.
like, yeah, you know, and there's no other, you know, very few bands I think around here that can do that as well as Llama, you know,
Right.
and yeah, it just, as a musician and as a person. And then when later, when I got the chance to work with them, you know, this was before I was officially in the band as the full-time drummer, but I got to see how a band worked in an ethical and respectful fashion, you know, and
Right.
and those ethos are some things that I have, you know, as my own professional, semi-professional, whatever career, you know, what I've tried to take those values and apply them to musical projects that I'm a part of, and you know, and you know, and it's helped me like figure out like what kind of environment I like to work in and what kind of people I like to work, you know, and I think that's hugely important. You know, those are some huge lessons to come out of just, you know, people, you know, from around. And yeah.
Dang, you guys are hitting hard, and I gotta go last.
Yeah. Good luck.
That's it.
All right, is it my turn?
Yes, it is, my good man. And then we got to wrap
All
it up.
right. Well, well, let me tell you about an album that came out October 24th, 2006.
Oh.
That was a truly remarkable album. That is, it's hard to describe. I feel like this is an album that transcends a decade, and that is My Chemical Romance, The Black Parade. It's
Okay.
It's a concept album that follows a story of a character who is, you know, on the brink of passing, and it is talking about experiences in the afterlife, reflection on one's own life and experiences, and it's just it's such a special album that you think about what punk rock was in like the 80s, 90s, and then what punk rock kind of turned into like a punk, alternative, kind of became pop punk and all that. And this album, it was the culmination of everything that was pure about the early 2000s with like pop rock and punk rock and all that. And I think it just brought everyone together, even if you weren't a My Chem fan.
Yeah.
You liked this album. There was at least some part of this album you liked. And it's a special album that even to this day, I'll just be cleaning my house or whatever, and I'll just, you know, pop it on because I'm ready to jam, and the excitement of everything you hear from that album is just, it's great. That's why that's number one. And that was my only choice for number one.
I can't confirm our bass player, Noah Greenleaf, is a big MCR fan.
I always thought of the Black Parade as being like kind of the final act before of the 2000s, you know, all emo, pop punk, whatever you want to say, before it became like, before it transitioned into All Time Low and like the more, you know, scene-y, alternative, like kind of emo. Like this was the last kind of like, this was the perfect transitional piece to kind of flip it, I thought, from Blink-182 and, you know, Sum 41 and those kinds of upbeat bands directly into the more slower and like more not depressing but like emotional kind of bands.
Well, then the band breaks up. Gerard Way goes to do a song with Deadmau5, and then boom, here we are now.
Oh yeah, but
I think as someone who had limited exposure to this album, I think it can be said that it is probably, you know, in the first wave of emo's existence, probably one of the capstone albums or moments, you know, like one of the defining moments of the genre.
Oh yeah. Well,
remember how I said I couldn't follow you guys? Boom! I just beat
I was
you
gonna
guys.
say, in my head, I'm like, what is Chris gonna do that is gonna top like, meaningful like personal growth, learning so much local and like it's like, oh, obviously the Black Parade, the one great album we don't have on this list, not the one, but
there's another one, but there's another one we're missing that I could talk about
no,
for days on end, but that's for another day.
Yeah,
for another day,
and we'll leave you for another day, and thank you so much for listening in to Wishful Thinking. It feels so good to be back.
Absolutely.
Chris, do you want to take us out?
It does. Oh, of course I do. As Drew mentioned, thank you guys. I hope you missed us as much as we missed you. We're really happy to be back. I know I can speak for the whole crew when I say that. Follow us on Instagram at WishfulTOfficial. You guys just look for the light bulb. We'll be there. And until next time, this has been Wishful Thinking on where we make local matter.